Welcome to the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show with celebrity nutrition expert, fitness Hall of Famer, and four-time New York Times bestselling author, JJ Virgin. JJ is a warrior mom whose knowledge and expertise have helped change hundreds of thousands of lives with over 3.5 million podcast downloads and appearances on Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Rachel Ray, Larry King Live.
Whoa. This show is about you, not about me. I want to help you find practical, real-world ways to dial in your health and mindset so you can finally lose that weight and feel strong and energized. Stop settling for less than your personal best. It's time to find out how to look and feel better than ever. And I'll be right here with you the whole way.
This is such a fun interview. So I am part of a group called the Transformation Leadership Council. And in that group, it's a group Jack Canfield of Chicken Soup for the Soul and Success Principles founded. And there are just some of the most amazing people in that group. And one of the people in that group is John Gray of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I mean, who hasn't read that book? And he's written over 25 books now. Plus he teaches online and all over the world. And I had the chance to hear him speak. Gosh, I think maybe it was 10 years ago. I'm like, this guy is amazing. And the next thing you know, I'm like sitting down having dinner with him a couple years ago. And I go, gosh, I'm so lucky. And we were talking a couple months ago because he does all sorts of interesting stuff and has incorporated nutrition into hormones. I'm like, tell me what you're doing. And the minute he started to talk, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have you on the podcast. So we are going to talk about relationship insights for hormonal health and vitality today with Dr. John Gray. He's first of all, he's so much fun, but he's just so brilliant. And in the middle of this interview, I went, all right, you know what? Clearly we're going to have you back on. So, and I think you're going to feel the same way. This is a total treat, but it's also going to help you if you are, struggling with hormonal balance. He's going to give you some key things that you can do lifestyle wise that you probably have never even considered or ever heard of, which is the most exciting thing of all. Now, the next thing I want to do before we dive in is read a little review, because these things make me beyond happy. And this one's on hormonal health, says 5 stars, and it's by Catherine Adams. This was excellent to listen to. I appreciate the open and candid conversation about hormonal health. I've been using bioidenticals for years and always worried when I had to sign a disclaimer before receiving pellets. Thanks for the good information and your podcast. So I thought that was perfect considering we're talking about hormones today. And Catherine, I hope you listen to this one, because wherever you are, whether you're taking hormones, not taking hormones, whatever you're up to, this to me is the first piece. Like when I look at hormonal health, I always say, all right, step one is to make sure that you're doing all the lifestyle stuff you can. And this is a piece of the lifestyle that I'd never considered before. So again, I think this is going to be one of your favorite podcasts. I know it's one of mine. John Gray, welcome to the show. I am thrilled to have you here with me.
Such a pleasure, JJ. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I got to watch you live. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to call you a friend, which I feel honored to do, but I also got to see you do your thing live at Parker College years ago. And you actually, I don't think if you remember this, John, but you were talking about something about how to make women feel good, and you give them a flower. You walked off stage and handed me a rose. And you were right, it did. And it was such a great talk. And I'd love to kind of start there because you're obviously known for your Mars Venus work. And, where did that all come from in the first place? I mean, what an amazing brand and a game-changing brand for relationships worldwide. But how did you even get started with all of that? Where did that all come from?
I think I was born to be a teacher. It's in me. I like talking. At 18 years old, I went off to live with the Maharishi of the Transcendental Meditation movement. And I was his personal assistant for 9 years and taught Transcendental Meditation, taught the teacher training programs there. He was my super mentor, we'll put it that way. The Beatles had popularized him, and they said you can get high without crashing. So I thought, okay, I'll get high on meditation. And the Maharishi was really high. He was having a fun time in life. He was clear. He had a very enlightened perspective. And that's what I wanted. And so I did that for 9 years. So I was actually, during that time, although I was sexually active as a teenager, loved sex, became a celibate monk for 9 years because that's what he was. And if you do long meditations, it's good to be celibate. The energy will go up more to develop a higher consciousness to make you more creative in life. So then at 28 years old, my brother was bipolar. Meditation didn't fix that. So I went to California to study psychology, became a PhD in psychology, and a marriage counselor. It just seemed like I started counseling, and then I started counseling people's problems. And I started having sex. I got married, had a family. And I think I developed all the Mars-Venus ideas as a counselor and as being married to my wife and having 3 daughters, really because my background was growing up with 5 brothers and then being a monk, not having relationships with women at that time. When I came out in the world, I came out in the world with a high self-esteem. I had found sort of inner peace. I found a lot of inner peace and unconditional love. And when you can be in relationship at those times where there's unconditional love, when your partner behaves in a way that's different from you, it creates a kind of curiosity. Why would she think that? Why would she feel that? As opposed to what's wrong with her. And when I would be a marriage counselor, listen to women again and again and again, it was like they're all married to the same guy. And he was just clueless, so much. Why doesn't he do this? Why does he do that? And he just doesn't understand why certain things are more important to women. And women often don't understand why certain things are more important to men because we have a different reference point. So that developed the whole Mars-Venus ideas. And that went on for 20 years teaching that. I still teach that all around the world. But for myself, around 50, I'm 67 now. But at 50, I had early stage Parkinson's. And so, I've always been into natural diet, natural support and everything. So I researched some natural remedies for early stage Parkinson's. It doesn't, cure anything. If it's really progressed, it can certainly help. And there's doctors who do that using supplements to help prevent it from progressing. But for me, it was the early stage, so I could reverse it. But when I reversed it, what I found is all these other improvements happened by taking nutritional supplements. I was a better listener to my wife. I got up in the morning, had more motivation. My libido dramatically increased. All these wonderful qualities happened. And then I started to realize that I'd had ADHD my whole life. I'd used meditation as a way to compensate, but I wasn't getting the right nutrition to actually heal my brain. So for the last 18 years, I haven't had any symptoms of Parkinson's, and my ability to be a better partner dramatically increased by helping my brain health and my hormone health by using certain supplements that work particularly good for me.
I just loved it when you described this the other day when we were talking on the phone, because I was like, okay, wait a minute. How does this guy who's doing all this stuff around relationships kind of move into nutrition? And then when you explained it, I'm like, well, of course, like those two are so interwoven that it's obvious, right? I mean, it's...
Yeah. Well, here, let me help it for people who might have not got it yet. Is if you're feeling somewhat depressed, it's going to be hard to have a good relationship. If you're worrying all the time, feeling anxious, it's going to be hard to be in a good relationship. Your tendency is going to control, or your tendency to react to things that you normally, when you're feeling, gratitude and peaceful and centered and all that, your partner doesn't have to be perfect. But when we're out of balance, we kind of require them to give more than what they can at that time. And that creates problems. A lot of misunderstandings happen at that time. And, when you're having great sex, for example, and you're in love with someone, they don't have to be perfect. You're very accepting of all the qualities of who they are because you're getting deep needs fulfilled. But if you don't have the right hormonal balance to enjoy great sex, if you don't have the focus in your brain to be able to sustain attention because your mind wanders so much and you want to get to the point and you become impatient, these are all functions of the brain and the hormone balance in the body. So, it's what we're all saying is spirit, mind, body. But when it comes to body, because as you teach and so many people know, our food today is quite deficient in nutrients, and high stress levels of our lives deplete the brain of certain nutrients more quickly. And we compensate by wanting to go for the sugar because the sugar then gives us that bump of energy that our brain's not producing from normal nutrition. But always sugar's like a drug. It puts you up, as you know, and then you crash back down and throws you out of balance, and then you require more and more. So the idea is to keep coming back to the balance by providing extra nutrition so the brain's not craving that extra sugar and so forth.
Well, amen to that, as you know.
As I know, you're the queen.
But here's what's super cool about this is you talk about these hormone imbalances impacting relationships. Now, one of the ways obviously this can happen is poor diet and also poor lifestyle. But you also talk, and I think this is so interesting because I'm looking at what's going on now. I think we are in such a bizarre state. Like I have young boys, they're 21 and 22. They have no idea how to behave nowadays with all the Me Too and everything else. And I look at women, 40% of women are making more money than the men. Now the men have to adjust, like all this crazy stuff. And in my circle, I'm around a lot of amazing, strong women who are the breadwinners. And we go out and we do our thing, right? But then all of a sudden we come home and we're supposed to make this shift. And we've been in this like masculine state, and it's challenging.
It's so challenging. And I hear this again and again. I've been hearing it, particularly it started in the 90s when it was really strong, and where women would say, I'm just feeling so overwhelmed. I have so much to do. I can't relax. I can't connect to me. And then it evolved to where it was like, I'd go on dates with guys, but they're good guys, but it doesn't click. My mind just starts looking at what's missing, or I just can't get to that feeling of being in love. I can't feel that. I can't open up. And this is a phenomena I've described and these ideas are kind of beyond the basic ideas of Mars and Venus. I started looking at the hormones, and the hormones of falling in love for a woman, the hormones of falling in love is double the estrogen. So you've got your normal estrogen levels at different times of the month, but then to kick it up into falling in love, becoming orgasmic, becoming just heart fully open, it's the doubling of the estrogen. So it's like 20 times higher than a man's estrogen levels. A man, to fall in love, he needs to have at least 20 times higher testosterone, 30, 40, 50 times for some men. They fall in love at that point, because testosterone is a hormone that men require more of to open their hearts. Women require more estrogen, progesterone in the right balance at the right time of the month in order for heart to fully open. Now, how can I say these things? Well, let's start with the basics, because this is all pure science now just to get to. Those are interpretations, and now I tell you how I get to that. But when women are depressed, when men are depressed, we know this is real clear-cut, simple. When men are depressed, their testosterone levels are very low. When men are feeling apathy, lack of motivation, their testosterone levels are very low. So clearly, we want men's testosterone levels to go high. But when people say, oh, high testosterone, they go, oh, no, that's what makes men aggressive. Well, about 15 years ago, it was actually discovered, but not well known, by a professor at Stanford, that when men are aggressive or angry, when men are defensive and argumentative, when men are hyper selfish, what happens at those moments is his testosterone levels are actually converting into estrogen. And he's actually having more female hormones at his body because it's throwing him out of balance.
So he's getting into PMS.
Exactly.
Every woman here can relate to this. Probably not for a while. We've got a lot of women, because the next question is, all right, but what about once you hit menopause?
Let me build to this point. So for men, testosterone is the wonder hormone. And what stimulates that testosterone is when men feel successful in making a difference. Okay, now women make testosterone. It feels good to them when they feel successful in making a difference. It's the same thing for both of us. But when you end up making testosterone all day as a woman, feeling good about your job, making a difference, or not feeling good about your job and sacrificing, but still making a difference, earning money, you'll be producing testosterone at that time. And when you're making testosterone, you can't be making progesterone or estrogen, depending upon what your body needs at those times. So there becomes this deficiency inside that was then compensated for, because we can find balance. I'm not saying go back, quit your jobs, go back to making, cookies. Not at all. What I'm saying is when you're making testosterone, your body needs to be making more estrogen. So suddenly what came in the 90s and early 2000s was a cry out from women, which is we need more romance. We need better communication. Well, it turns out that when a woman feels romance, someone's taking care of her that evening, opening the door for her, doing things for her, planning things for her, considering her thoughts and feelings and needs as a priority over your own. When somebody's doing that for you, then you relax. And that relaxation is actually restoring female hormones in your body.
See, my husband is balancing my hormones, John.
That's it. No, I'm telling you.
Absolutely is the first one. I remember one of my guy friends said, "Oh my gosh, you're like the guy in the relationship in my prior relationship." And I had lost all my femininity because I had to take care of everything. And it was just awful. And now I'm taken care of. And it changed everything.
Yeah, well, you can use a man. Ironically, men don't mind being used.
But he opens the door. He does. He waits for me to go first. I mean, he does all that stuff.
A key to it is to feel that you have that backup, somebody who hears you, sees you, admires you, loves you, is there for you, and that you don't have to put on always a strong face to them. Is that, to be successful in the world, you have to have it all together. You have to look good. You have to know, you have to be confident. Otherwise, nobody hires you. So, but we all have insecurities inside, doubts, fears, worries, disappointments, hurts, sadness. All these are kind of emotions. It turns out that the reason 90% of the people who go to therapy are women is because they feel better afterwards, because they can talk to somebody and reveal what's behind the facade. And it's not necessarily that's not you. It's just it's a part of you behind the confident person is also a person with feelings and insecurities and doubts and worries and all that. So to be able to have a partner where you can share, you can become naked with, and without feeling you're going to lose their love, you're not going to lose their respect, but you're actually going to get more. And that's my message to helping women, which is to be vulnerable, to learn to open up and communicate with a man. And I teach men how to listen and how to be there as opposed to interrupting with solutions and fixes and minimizing. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. What we have to do as men is learn to empathize. But when you receive empathy, what happens, or when you anticipate empathy, when you come home from a very testosterone job, just anticipating empathy bumps up your estrogen even throughout the day. So that's the solution, is you have a personal life, which is designed to increase the hormones of femininity if you're a woman, while you're at a job, which is making masculine hormones. And now you're a whole person, and that's called being in the flow. That's you, JJ. When you're up there, you're in the flow. You've got your masculine side, you got your feminine side. And for you, besides loving your work, it's also that you anticipate being able to come back to a personal life, because anticipation generates the hormones. Actually getting the support is good, but actually more than that is the belief it's going to come. The same thing for a man. My testosterone levels, if I'm in front of an audience, they shoot way up, huge up, because I anticipate making a huge difference. I come home to see my wife, my testosterone levels rise because I anticipate her being so happy to see me. She'll miss me. She loves me. She's there for me. And that way of appreciating and admiring what I do, that bumps my testosterone level up. Having children that think I'm a great guy, that bumps my testosterone levels up. So this is like finding the balance in our lives. Men have to make sure they're getting more support to increase testosterone. Women have to learn how to get the support in order to bump up their female hormones.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, because if you don't have a partner, back when I was single, what do you do? Can you do this by, social interactions, friends, your dog? What do you do?
Exactly. Well, correct. But what you can do it is in a very clear way of regulating yourself by knowing what symptoms are there saying I'm out of balance and where do I need to go. And a lot of women listening, they don't have a partner, and a lot of women do have a partner, and it's almost the same phenomena, because there's many women that have a partner. You go, yeah, but my partner doesn't listen.
Oh yeah, this happened when I was with my last husband, who's an awesome guy, but we got in a very weird position where the more I took care of and handled things, the less he did. So he started feeling less and less like a man. I started feeling more and more like the man, and it just was like, blah, it just was terrible. Right.
So what you just said is like one of the most amazing basic concepts that all women should underline 3 times what you just said. When I start doing more, men start doing less. That is the nature of men. That's not going to change. If you give men more than they're giving to you, it's like there's an exchange. A relationship is an interdependence, people getting what they need. And let's say you're giving a man a lot, and that feels good as a loving partner. You want to give to them. You're giving them if you happen to be giving more than they're giving to you, the tendency inside of a man will be to give less and less and less. It's almost, that's the testosterone reaction. It's like, if I go to a job and they keep paying me for doing less and less, then I'm going to do less and less. Now, ironically, female hormones, if you give to a woman more than she's giving to you, she'll actually feel this inner urge, this sense of reciprocity. Oh, I have to get up and give more. I have to give more. I have to give more. And giving more then feels good to her in response to receiving. And the brain remembers that if you receive, you give back, and that's reciprocity, and that feels really good. That stimulates female hormones. The problem is when you're not getting from a man, your mind remembers, oh, if I just give to him, it thinks if he's a woman, I'll just give more to him. He'll click into reciprocity and give back to me. But men tend to give less if they're on their male side, if you give them more. So that in itself is like such an important lesson for women in terms of helping to increase their estrogen levels. Because when you're giving more than you're getting, you're actually generating testosterone. You're giving to anticipate a reward. You're giving to anticipate getting something. When you give to anticipate, that's like I go to work to get paid, or I go to work to make a difference. I'm going to get that reward back. That kind of giving is going to produce testosterone. When you give back, when your love, when your energy is coming from a place of gratitude of what I have now, and now I'm giving back, there can be no room for resentment. Resentment is the enemy of female hormones. And it's where women get caught up in by giving in order to get, rather than giving of their heart because they've received from their heart. And that's the dynamic right there. So anything, coming back to what generates the female hormones, whether you're in a relationship with a man or not, is doing what you love to do. Taking time to do things, in a sense, selfish time, things history doesn't give women permission to do, because women were producing plenty of female hormones in their daily activity because they weren't doing more testosterone stimulating jobs. But a super estrogen progesterone stimulator, so to speak, female hormones, is when you give to yourself things that you love. So being selfish in that sense is very, very important. So if your husband's ignoring you, don't give him more time and attention. Just ignore him for a little while, but not from a place of resentment, but from a place of empathy, compassion. He needs to pull back into his cave to rebuild his testosterone. That's why men withdraw. When you withdraw, testosterone levels go back up. So for a woman, when she sees that, rather than try to get more from him at that time, give yourself permission to give more to yourself. That's the whole thing. And that's an obstacle in itself. Now we get to sex. Oh, my sex is the greatest estrogen hormone producer there is. Giving yourself permission to enjoy sex, not for the man, but you enjoy sex for you. That's the greatest gift you can give to a man, is to enjoy sex with him because you love it, not that you're just doing it out of obligation.
Well, and here's what I noticed. Now, you just confirmed this, and I didn't know why before now. This is such awesome stuff, because again, I'm thinking about all of the people I've had on the podcast or I bring onto Facebook. We should totally do a Facebook and Instagram live on this. And we talk about, the diet things you need to do, et cetera. But you put this with that, oh my gosh. And I know that you've done that and you see the power of it. But one of the things I've noticed is that when you have more sex, you have better skin. And I was right. It's because if you've got estrogen levels that are up, you're going to have better skin. You have better skin elasticity. It's anti-aging. So you just confirmed what I always knew.
It's the best anti-aging thing there is. Along with the good nutrition, you've got to have the good nutrition. Tonkat Ali, a herb, can help boost testosterone levels to create much more interest in sex for men, to get the ball rolling. Now, I can't take it now. I took it at 50 years old. I started taking it because my libido was going down. And now at 67 years old, with the right communication techniques and basic supplements, my testosterone levels are 50% higher than when I was a young man. And that's not your normal. That's the result of good nutrition and regular sex and having good sexual skills and a partner who enjoys sex, as opposed to this notion that women are in a sea of conditioning that says a man must do X, Y, Z, must marry you, must do all these things before you're allowed to have sex. Now, I know women aren't thinking that these days, but it's in the subconscious that you require a man to do things, all these lists of requirements, to give you permission to say, I want sex, as opposed to women love sex as much as men, but they do have to have the hormones in balance, and therefore there are requirements for that.
But sex can also help balance hormones.
Oh my God! It's everything is always a balance. As
yay!
You gotta be loving yourself. If you're loving yourself and doing things you love to do, that's going to bring your estrogen levels up about halfway to the great orgasmic place. Then sex takes you the rest of the way up. And it's when you're living in that place where you're having regular orgasms, that's where your skin's going to be spectacular. Your energy levels are going to be great. Your hormones will stay in balance. And when you're in menopause, it doesn't mean you can't have orgasms. It doesn't mean you don't need to have the hormones of a younger woman, because you're not making babies every month. I mean, the potential to make babies every month. So your hormones don't have to be as high. The key to it is hormones in balance. And when you're feeling more independent, which women naturally grow into greater independence, if they don't also nurture that female side, then they grow out of balance and the hormone levels drop and the testosterone becomes dominant. Even though the testosterone levels in a woman never get too high, it's that when you're making testosterone, you also use it up. But when you're making it, your body cannot make progesterone and your body cannot make estrogen unless you're anticipating estrogen. It can make some estrogen at that time, but it doesn't make progesterone.
But I also wonder if some of that, and then we've got to wrap up. You are coming back, my friend. But
okay.
I also wonder if some of that is, as women's estrogen levels start to drop, if they're not aware of these things, then they start to become more independent. Then it makes their estrogen drop more. And then it just becomes like, that's why we have to be so aware of these things. And that's why getting healthy and staying healthy and having unlimited health is never about one thing. It's never just diet or never just exercise. It's all of these things have to be together. And I really feel like the missing component that no one's talking about is this piece, is connection, is relationship. And it's massive. Like, this is massive. You cannot balance your hormones without this. You can't be a woman driving hard, working like crazy with a partner who's not supportive and have balanced hormones.
And the first step, if you are that woman and your partner's not supportive, stop. Don't try to change your partner. Don't look at them as though they're the reason. Come back to yourself and make changes within yourself. And from that place of changes within yourself, then learn, and that takes learning, how to give a man the fuel he needs to wake up, and then learn how to ask for support to guide him, not, mother him, not complain about him, but guide him. And men can be guided when they feel like heroes.
Well, I can tell you something. I know that a lot of what I created in my last marriage was the less he did, the more I did, the less he did, the more I did. And it just created this mess. And then when we got divorced and went through all this stuff, all of a sudden I started to ask for his help on things and ask for support. We have an amazing relationship now. My ex-husband, my new husband, our whole family hang out together. And it's just because I just shifted that. And instead of, asking, kind of like demanding he do something, which of course never got anywhere, I just was like, hey, could you help with this? I'd really appreciate it. It'd be a huge, huge thing for me. And boom,
wow.
And he feels good. And I feel like, I was like, oh my gosh, like we all need this stuff so much, John. Like, this is really
JJ, what you just said was pearls of wisdom for all the women listening. I want to just dissect it and take an hour to do, but just very quickly, because of the divorce, you gave up trying to change him or give more to him. Therefore, you were free to simply ask for help and appreciate what you get without a requirement that you should have done that already.
Yes.
It's like the secret of all this.
I know. It's like, oh my gosh. Yep. Oh, well, but you know what? It's all, we're all
our
now,
growth
but,
process.
it is what it is. So
Life is a journey. Life is a journey. We're all learning.
I there's so much to learn from you. And I'm really thrilled that you're going to be providing this video training for everybody. So I want to let everyone know you'll get a great video training on a woman's feel-good hormones. And you'll be able to get that at jjvirgin.com/John Gray. We are going to put it there. And it's Gray spelled Gray, not E. So John Gray, Gray. And John, we got to have you back to go even deeper. We didn't even start talking about the nutrition side of it. Oh my gosh. And so will you come back?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
For sure.
Awesome. We will get you back on. And so I'm going to link to all of your books, your website, to that free video training for everybody. Again, jjvirgin.com/John Gray. And thank you so much. I so appreciate your time with me today.
Thank you, JJ.
So after the break, I'm going to be answering the listeners' questions. So stay with me. Welcome back. This is the time where I answer a listener's question. And boy, I hope you're hanging out with me on Facebook and Instagram. I go live, try to go a couple times a week, depends what's going on. And I've been doing more and more with other people as well. And then I always watch the questions that come through. And one of the questions that's been coming through, we've been talking a lot about hormones. Hormones, a lot. I think because a lot of my friends just published books on hormones. But one of the big questions I get asked is whether or not to go on bioidentical hormones. And here's what I would tell you about that. First of all, there's a huge difference between bioidentical hormones and basically synthetic hormones. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like it's the difference between wild fish and farmed fish. It's the difference between artificial sweetener and, stevia, like all these things, huge difference, night and day. You cannot compare them. It's apples and oranges. So I'm glad you said bioidentical. Here's how I've always felt about this. And this is why I was so excited to have John on today, is the first thing that you want to do is everything that you can do outside of taking bioidentical hormones. So you dial in your diet, you add in supplements that can help raise your progesterone and estrogen, especially estrogen, naturally. You do activities that can help boost estrogen and testosterone and progesterone. And as you heard today, and we'll bring John back on, there's so much that you can do. And be sure to grab his video at jjvirgin.com/John Gray, Gray. Because what I've always told people is manage your stress. Remember, if you're stressed out, you're going to drive down progesterone and testosterone. Get good sleep. If you're not sleeping well, you're going to drive up cortisol, drive down progesterone and testosterone. Eat correctly. Do your exercise. That's going to help raise testosterone. But the other piece of it that's so key and critical here, and supplements, of course. And we'll put in some supplements. I'll give you the information on a product I like from Designs for Health and the Amazon link to be able to get a discount on it at called Libido Stim. There's one for men and there's one for women. And of course, I love fish oil here, super important, and vitamin D. These are the things that I would do. Vitamin D and K, my vitamin D plus, and then my Omega Ultra fish oil, and then a Libido Stim product. Of course, having balanced blood sugar is key. But the piece that I'd never known about before was what he was talking about today, was all of the stuff about getting help, being willing to be dependent on someone, which I have done for the first time ever in my life recently. Like I never, and dependent could be financially or it could be emotionally or whatever. But like I was never willing to do that before, which is why I was never really able to get into a totally bonded relationship. I get it now. Thanks, John. So looking at some of these things that can really help boost and balance your hormones naturally through connection, through relationships, through how you live. And this to me is such exciting stuff. So it's that next step. You do all of those things and make sure your thyroid's working, of course, because that's thyroid and vitamin D optimization are key critical. And then you see where you're at. And then you make the decision with your functional medicine doctor, and we can put the links in for how you find a good functional medicine doctor. Then you make that decision if bioidenticals are right for you. All righty, that about wraps it up. Now, if you've not left a review, I would love to shout you out on the next show. So all you have to do is go over to iTunes and leave a review. Just leave whatever. Like, I'm not asking for like the glowing 5-star, although I love those, but I really want an honest review. And if you've got suggestions, recommendations, anything, great place to leave it too. I read all of them. So does the team. And if there's something you want to hear about, we will do our best to provide. All right. See you next time. Bye.
That's all for this episode of the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show, which marks another step towards a healthier body and mind. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and we'll talk to you next week.